Submarine car 2-in-1 model. This is BlueBrixx set 106672. It was released in August 2023 for about 60 euros. This construction block set consists of 1368 pieces. The bricks in the set are compatible to bricks by other construction blocks companies like Lego, Kobe, Mega, and so on. So far, I showed you two BlueBrixx cars on this channel, both in the scale 1:18 and both designed by BlueBrixx designer Adrian. The first car was a Land Rover, and the second car was this red Puma buggy from that Bud Spencer movie. This time, Adrian has designed a Lotus Esprit S1, like we have seen it in the 1977 James Bond movie The Spy Who Loved Me. I think this must be one of the Bond movies I have seen the most. It came so many times on television, it's just insane. But as a kid, Roger Moore, who is James Bond in this movie, was my absolute favorite James. And I still think he's very funny. Many people don't like the Moore movies where he is Bond, but for me, they are all fine. They might not be realistic, but they are just funny. I love that. This Spy Who Loved Me movie had so many iconic scenes. And of course, the famous soundtrack with which goes like this: nobody does it better. It's, well, I'm gonna have an earworm now for the rest of the day, I fear. And well, besides the soundtrack, we got so many famous scenes, like the opening sequence where James Bond is chased on his skis through the Austrian Alps, and finally he escapes with a parachute, which is just a huge Union Jack. And of course, there's the other scene where he drives along in his Lotus and gets attacked by a helicopter. He escapes by driving into the sea, where he transforms his Lotus into a submarine. There is something strange about the set. It's a 2-in-1 set, so that means we get two models. The German text says, mit diesem Set kann man nur eines der beiden gezeigten Modelle zurzeit bauen, which translates to, at this time you can only build one of the two shown models. And this just doesn't make any sense. I guess what they wanted to say is that you can only build one of the two models at the same time, because there are not enough bricks for building two models at the same time. Maybe the guy who wrote the texts for the set just had a bad day, because I also noticed that there is a little spelling mistake in the English title of the set. We can't see it on the box, but it's printed on their website, or it's shown on their website and also printed in the bill. There they put a second L in the model of a submarine car 2-in-1 model. So 2 L's instead of just 1 L. But as long as we can understand what they want to say, this doesn't really matter. As you can see, this is a BlueBrixx special. We don't have a nice box, only this quite simple box. Special also means that Not like in the Pro sets, we don't get a printed building instruction. You have to download the instructions from the BlueBrixx servers as a PDF file. Another thing about special sets is that the bricks don't come in numbered bags. So there are no separate building sections. More or less, we have to open all the bags in the beginning, and I recommend to sort the bricks by type. But now let's have a look what's inside the box. So if there's something else inside than just unnumbered bags with bricks. So this is what we find inside the box. And as you can see, the bags contain a lot of different types of bricks. That means before we can start with the build, I will have to do a lot of sorting. That's the bad part about BlueBrixx special sets, but I really recommend to sort all the bricks before you start with the build. It's annoying, but it saves you a lot of time during the building process. You won't have to search for an individual brick at each step. After I have sorted all the bricks, I can start with step 1. I have reached step 8 and nothing interesting has happened so far. The bricks are fine, they work perfectly fine at least, but looking at them might give you sore eyes, because have a look at these huge injection holes. That's just ugly, but well, that's something we see in most BlueBrixx sets. At least I think most of the stats will be covered, so there won't be many of these ugly stats which will be visible once the build is complete. And there are also some bricks where the injection holes are actually quite good. But that's not what I wanted to talk about here. In step 8, there we get to use these 2x2 panels here, and this is a piece I haven't used before. According to Bricklink, LEGO introduced them in 2010 with a LEGO Hogwarts set, a LEGO Harry Potter set. I have another set where these pieces appear. It's the Star Wars Trench Run diorama set, but I haven't built the set so far. I only used some of the pieces for something else. And so I already owned another set with these pieces, but this set here is actually the first time that I really used them. Step 14. Here's another piece that I haven't used before, at least I think so. This Technic piece here, this pin connector. According to Bricklink, LEGO introduced it in 2014. Nowadays, it's quite a common piece. I actually have several sets in my collection which include this piece here, but I haven't built these sets so far. So this is the first time that I'm using this piece here. Step 15. In this step, we have to place 2 bars. And the problem now is that our set comes with bars with different lengths. So we got this long bar here and this bar here, which is a bit shorter. And I'm not quite sure which bar to use here. Often in instructions, we get to see a little picture which has the identical size of the bar, so we just have to hold it next to the bar, and then we know that our bar has the same length as the bar used in the instructions. But that's often problematic in digital instructions. You don't know, or better said, the people who create the instructions don't know how large your screen is, and so this doesn't just work with a picture where you can hold the bar next to it. So what they do instead is that they write the length next to the bar used. So for example, 3 studs long or something like that. But in this case here, they haven't done anything like that. Well, let's have a look. This here is the shorter bar. This would look like this. And let me put the longer bar next to it. Oh, this didn't work. Okay, let me try again. Oh, come on. This doesn't really work. Let me just hold it in place. So, like this. And now when we have a look at the instructions, especially in the next step, I think we can clearly see that quite a bit of the bar is peeking out of this black pin connector down here. And I think we have to use the longer one. I guess these are the axles where later we put the wheels on. Step 78. We are building the car's engine right now, and this step is a good opportunity to show you how the instructions inform you when you have to place a piece in a special color. For example, all the pieces used in this step are in the color flat silver. They show the piece once again in this little box down here and write flat silver next to it. So this method is absolutely foolproof. They do this because flat silver is a color which looks in the instructions almost like dark bluish gray, and so they just help you that you don't accidentally mistake flat silver for dark bluish gray. Step 85. A few steps ago we had to use an axle and we didn't know how long it is. In this step here we once again have to use an axle, and now we know how long it is. The instructions tell us that it has a length of 4L, which means it's 4 studs long. I don't know why they tell us how long this axle is, but they didn't tell us how long the other axle is a few steps ago. Step 109. I'm in the middle of building one of the wheel arches. And here I noticed that we got problems with the color. You can see here all these plates and bricks are supposed to be in light bluish gray, but they don't look the same. They are definitely in different shades. I think we can also see it on other bricks which we have already placed in previous steps. Yeah, for example, these plates here, the middle one, looks different than the two on the sides. I hope that the light bluish bricks won't be visible once the build is complete. As far as I can say for now, at least the white bricks do not seem to have this problem. Step 112. In this step, we are going to use a piece I haven't seen before. This arch here was introduced by LEGO in 2008, and it is absolutely a common piece nowadays. It appeared in almost 150 sets. Well, for me it's new. There you can see I really haven't built a lot of modern LEGO sets. Step 173. In this step we have to place one of the windows, and the window we use in this step is shaped like a trapezium. This is quite cool. I have never seen a piece like this before. I don't even know if LEGO uses this piece. It got light scratches, but that's not a big problem, I would say. They aren't very visible. But what I don't like at all is this big injection point. It has got a quite unlucky position. I would have preferred it to be on the sides or on the top or on the bottom. Well, we have to deal with it now. Step 185. Once again, I have found a piece I haven't seen before. This telephone handset here was introduced by LEGO in 1994. They didn't use it that much in the 90s, but since the new century, since the 2000s, they use this thing regularly. Especially you can find it in a lot of Star Wars sets. I actually have a Star Wars set in my collection, the Princess Leia helmet, where this piece also is included, but I haven't built a set so far. Step 193. A piece is missing. I can't find this 1x2 panel anywhere. I really hoped that BlueBrixx had solved their problem with the missing pieces. They have got so many incomplete sets, and they really need to fix this. It's utterly annoying. I really can't stand this. Well, at least the piece should be used in a position which isn't important for the construction. We can simply go on with the build. It also won't be visible too much from the outside. We are building a door right now, and we already have built the mirrored door. And here you can see there is the position where the 1x2 panel goes. Here this door got a panel, but this door not. What I'm going to do now is to use a piece from my collection of bricks, which I wanted to use for a huge mock. I do this every time when I have a BlueBrixx set with a missing piece. I reduce the bricks from which I have collected for this huge mock. Before I can start the build of this huge mock, I really have to reorder several pieces, because in the meantime I had so many incomplete BlueBrixx sets that it reduced my brick collection for that mock quite a bit. So I have this BlueBrixx piece here, and this is way better quality than all the bricks from BlueBrixx. The thing now is, because of this better quality, this means also the color is more close to the color LEGO uses. So you can see here that the light bluish gray by BlueBrixx has a slightly different color than the bricks in light bluish gray by BlueBrixx. Well, that's better than nothing. I still will inform BlueBrixx, and then in a few weeks I will have a replacement piece. Step 223. In this step we have to decide if we want to build the car with retracted headlights, which are done with 4 slopes with grille, or if we want to have activated headlights. I prefer this version. I think it just looks better, and so I have built that. Next, we have to decide if we just want to build a normal Lotus Esprit or if we want to build the Submarine version. I'm going to continue with step 225. That means I'm building the standard car. When I have completed that car, I will disassemble everything which came after step 222. Then I will build the retracted headlights, and after that I will continue with the steps for the Submarine version of this Lotus Esprit. Step 244. The car is complete. And wow, this thing really is heavy. But that also means that it can roll really good. New. I think this model really looks great. It got a lot of details. So let's see what kind of details we can recognize. Here on both sides we got door handles and side mirrors. We can even adjust them a bit. And the headlights, which we have talked about before. And in the front we also got indicators and more lights. And the license plate. There's also a license plate on the back, and it's in yellow because this is of course a British car. Here are the braking lights, the indicators, and the lights that turn on when you drive backwards. On the back side we can also see through the window the engine, and I think the engine looks quite realistical. It looks almost like the real engine. They have really nailed it, I would say. My favorite detail about the engine is here this little flower piece in light bluish gray. It's supposed to be an oil cap, and it really looks like the real oil cap on the engine. That's so cool. We can open the doors. And there are also door handles. And yeah, as I said before, this is a British car. So of course the steering wheel is on the right side. You can also see that down here there are pedals. And we got the gear stick. And behind the steering wheel we can see some controls. Oh, and I have to show you also the seats. I think those look a bit strange. They are bent too much backwards. The driver would fall asleep when he sits in the car like this. At least he can't lean back correctly if he still wants to reach the steering wheel. Okay, there is one more detail which I want to show you, and this detail sits below the bonnet. Sadly, we can't open it, so I will have to remove these. Yeah, what are these? I think those are some roof pieces, these giant slopes here. I will come back to you in a second. So I have removed the slopes. I'm not even sure if we can call them the bonnet. I mean, the engine is in the back. Wouldn't that be the bonnet? I don't know. But what I want to show you is that we have a spare tire here in the front. This car is so cool. I really like it. I mean, we even got here the spoiler in the back, the exhaust pipes. It just looks great. But now it's time to start disassembling some parts again so that I can continue with step 245 to build the submarine. Step 296. I am building the stands right now. We have to build 2 of these things here. And I think the building technique used here is quite interesting. So we have here one of the stands, and you can see that this white plate here with holes in it simply is interlocked with this 2x2 round brick here, like this. And to make things now more sturdy, we just insert this axle here. And now this thing is absolutely sturdy. That's cool. Can you swim? This is what James Bond says right before he drives his Esprit into the sea, where it transforms into a submarine. And with step 298, we have finished the transformation now too. This thing is so cool. I absolutely love it. So you can see we added some things. On the top here, we added the antenna, or maybe it's the camera on a stick, if I remember correctly from the movie, but I'm not sure about this. And whatever this thingy here is. Here in the front, we added the harpoon shooter. And on the sides, we added these cage-like protections for the windows. I think in the movie, this cage thing is also on the front and on the back window. I don't know why we don't have this. Well. And the most noticeable difference is, of course, that we got these rudders here now in the place where the wheels were before. And we can also move these things, so our submarine is functional. On the back, we have added now these propellers here with these, I don't know if these are really rudders or maybe they are just placed there for stabilization and you can't move them at all. I don't know. I guess you can't move them. I can't really remember. And yeah, here in the back are also these flaps. I think it's slightly annoying that they are not in the center of each propeller. They are a bit off, and this is a bit strange. Well, and yeah, I think that's all. Well, of course, we also have added the stands here. What is missing is the missile shooter in the back, you know, with the help of which James Bond downs the helicopter. But we also didn't have the concrete jets when we had built the car version. But we can say that it's all in there, it's just not actuated, and so we can't see it. This is a really cool model. And the instructions also were absolutely clear. I had no problems with them. Maybe this shouldn't be your first construction block set. There are some steps which are a bit complicated. The instructions maybe could be clearer, but you just have to think a bit, and then always is absolutely understandable. So there is nothing too complicated. I think an adult shouldn't have any problem with building this model here. The only thing which really annoyed me about the set is that we had a missing piece again. When you don't have a big Lego or construction blocks collection at home, you have to wait for a replacement part if you don't want to order one from Bricklink or something like that. And this is just stupid. I want to have my sets complete. I don't want to wait in between the building steps until some missing part arrives, and this just doesn't make fun. I want to start my build and being able to complete it in just a few days, and I don't want to wait weeks and weeks and having this incomplete set laying around on my table. BlueBrixx really has to get their stuff together. They really need to fix this problem. It's really annoying. But the designer has done a great job. I mean, look how cool this thing looks. The only thing now which I'm going to add are printed license plates. I got myself these two prints here, and I think they will make this model even better. Those are Lego bricks, Lego tiles, by the way. And I think I paid per print €3 or something like that. Okay, then let me just add them. I fear this might take several minutes because I think I have to disassemble quite a bit of the vehicle to reach the license plates. I think the printed license plates are a great addition to the set. Especially the one in the back looks really cool because of its yellow color. That's so great. These here are the parts from the car mode which I had to disassemble again. There were enough additional pieces so that I didn't have to touch the car mode pieces again for the submarine mode. I think I only had to reuse 3 pieces. Everything else was not used in the car mode or was additional in the set, so I didn't have to use these pieces again. And there are also some pieces left over which we didn't use at all. Also, the activated headlights are included in these pieces here. I think I'm going to keep my set in this configuration. I prefer the submarine mode. This looks really impressive. There are several mocks on Rebrickable for this James Bond Lotus Esprit submarine, but I really think the BlueBrixx set looks better than those mocks. This is the best construction blocks model of this submarine I have seen so far.